Hey y'all, it's your girl Slow. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a special Friday edition of Makeup and Mythology, specifically for Native Heritage Month. So hey, if you're new here, my name is Dazzle. I post every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, so make sure you subscribe, like this video for good luck, comment for clear skin, unlike mine, that's why I have color correction here. You make sure to go ahead and subscribe, because every Monday I am bringing you a fierce makeup look and a cool mythology story from somewhere around the world. The next two for sure are going to focus on Native Heritage because that's Native Heritage Month here in the US. So I'm a little bit late on this, but like it's been a crazy week here. We've had elections here. Trump lost. But it was so stressful. I broke a nail. I was so stressful I broke a nail, you guys. But anyways, I'm just going to go with color corrected. I put my primer on. Set color corrected, so we're gonna get started on the story of the Wendigo and my makeup. Let's go. Okay, right, like I said before, we're gonna talk about the Wendigo. And this tale, from what I could find, dates back to about approximately the 1600s, to about, time of colonization, time of settling. But you may ask, what exactly is a Wendigo? Good question. It is a big carnivorous monster that loves to eat human flesh, or the spirit that makes people into cannibals during harsh winters. Depends on which tribe you ask. And actually in most tribes, it's somewhat interchangeable. Like the Wendigo monster exists, and then they can like possess you as a person and then make you crave human flesh. Wild, right? And this tale comes to us from the Algonquin Tribes up north. So we're talking like the US-Canadian border, Great Lakes area, Minnesota. And Algonquin refers to a group of tribes that either speak the Algonquin language or speak a dialect similar to the Algonquin language. Some of these include tribes like the Delaware, the Pershets, and the Winnipeg. I'll write them down on the screen because I know it's at least one of those. Those are tribes that all have some sort of version of this story, which I thought was interesting. Algonquin tribes commonly relied on fishing and hunting and working the ground for food. So the Wendigo is most commonly associated with winter just because in winter it's harder to find animals to eat, as well as harder to find you can't really harvest during the winter. You have to really harvest a good it's like you like plant and grow during the spring and summertime, and then you have to harvest a lot of food during the autumn, or else you starve throughout the winter. So if you had a bad harvest, you're gonna starve throughout the winter. So that's part of the relevance of this tale. The word Wendigo translates to an evil spirit that devours mankind in various indigenous languages. That's wild, bro. That is wild. According to most tribe legend, the Wendigo was originally a human person that eventually transformed into a monster due to starvation, and became a monster that cannibalized the dead that didn't survive if they were like harvest wasn't good. the Wendigo is said to be a relative of Bigfoot. His body is described as emaciated, and he stands at about approximately 15 feet tall. So not the tallest monster, but I mean definitely, that's like, I'm like 5'3", that's like 5 times, not 5 times, I can't count, y'all. It's about 3 times my height, so I'm a little short cake, so he really be towering over me, doing me the works. The Wendigo is said to have an extreme cannibalistic urges. Has extreme cannibalistic urges that they obsess about finding new prey until they like find new prey and eat them. But their hunger is insatiable. Now, according to legends of the Nani Valley, a native author and ethnographer named Basil Johnston described the Wendigo in his masterwork Mantonius, his masterwork called Mantonius as follows. Let's make this real fast. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation. Its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones, with its bones gushing out over its complexion. The complexion of gray ash of death, and its eyes pulled back deep into the sockets. The Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. Oh, I mean, it looks like it was like raised from, okay, oh, nasty. What lips it had were tattered and bloody, unclean, suffering from suppurations of the flesh. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition of death and corruption. And according to that same ethnographer too, the Wendigo had large eyes like an owl. Definitely the Wendigo is one of those creatures that you want to avoid during the nighttime and in the woods. And there are tons of scary tales about this bad boy. So there are different claims about his agility and his speed. Some say that he is extremely fast and agile. Others say that he doesn't need speed and agility because he's really good at mimicking human sounds and making one want to wander into the forest to their doom. Ultimately to their doom. Many Algonquin people say that during the turn of the century, beginning of the 1900s, the 20th century, that many people started to go missing in this area, where the Algonquin tribes are present. and many of these disappearances are attributed to the Wendigo. The tribes thus called the Wendigo another name, that being spirit of lonely places. Now, once the Wendigo had, if like so chooses, instead of to eat you, if it manifested your mind or like took over your body, possessed you, it would make you too a monster determined to eat tons of human flesh. The most common version, most widely known tale of this happening is the tale of Swiftrunner. Swiftrunner was a Native American man who ate and murdered his whole family in 1879. He claimed to be possessed by the Wendigo spirit at the time of the murders, and he was hanged for this crime. Well, duh. Eating your own family, I mean, it's pretty fucked up. But that's the Wendigo shit. That is the Wendigo stuff. Eating your own kids. I couldn't imagine being that hungry. Like, if your choices are starvation, like death by starvation, or eating your children, or eating people in general, like, what would you choose? Comment down below. I think I would just choose to starve to death, honestly. I don't have enough patience. One, I can't kill stuff. I'm soft as hell. Two, how do I get in the woods? Because I'm soft as hell. I don't belong out there. Okay? Mind you. Like, how did I even get out there? That's the first question we all should be asking. How did Dom get out there? How did Dom get out in the woods to where you're in the situation to begin with? Like, why am I in the woods, y'all? Someone tell me down below. What would you say to lure me into the woods? I don't know what your comments down below are. And it is still debated because there is actually, believe it or not, psychiatrists do actually have a name for a disease called Wendigo psychosis. When you suddenly have like a huge craving for human flesh, but also fear of becoming a cannibal. Like, how does that work? I mean, maybe it's because like your inhibitions, and it's like your logic brain is like, yeah, you're not supposed to eat people. Like, you're supposed to eat your own people. That's weird. And yeah, it's fascinating. But they say a lot of the Wendigo symptoms are like nausea, having a poor appetite, and vomiting, ironically enough. I mean, I guess you would have to vomit, right? Just because if you're eating human flesh, like, we're not made to eat each other. Are even animals, other animals, made to eat each other? So many questions. But yeah, they said that actually a lot of these cases also of Wendigo psychosis ironically took place in Canada, the Great Lakes area. The most cases of Wendigo psychosis occurred in the Great Lakes area of United States, Canada. So like, it's like a lot of action at that border right there. More horses, like, it's like from like Minnesota east is where I'm seeing all that action is going down for the Wendigos. And of course, the most common attempt to cure the Wendigo psychosis would be to go see natural native healers, but if that didn't work, people would be, if they were treated for the Wendigo psychosis, but they end up being, it doesn't work, or they're still possessed by some other spirit, they're just executed. Which, I mean, what else can you do? Supernatural, I mean, it's literally above you at that point, I mean, to be honest. Supernatural things is literally above you. Literally. Like, in the most literal sense, it is above you. Whether you believe that the Wendigo haunts the forests of the Great North Lakes of Canada and the US, the Wendigo does have a very special place in the native culture of the Algonquin tribes. The legend of the Wendigo has often been linked to insatiable greed, selfishness, and violence. It kind of is linked to any taboo that kind of has a negative, any behavior that's a negative taboo that like has a negative connotation to it in culture. Mostly greed. There is the idea of turning Wendigo, according to the same ethographer from before, Basil Johnson. It's a function of gluttony and living to excess is what it symbolizes to a lot of the native tribes. And the idea of turning Wendigo is more the possibility of self-destruction through gluttony versus actually like being a evil creature in the woods. So a book called Rewriting the Apocalypse of Canadian Fiction, the Wendigo stories were seen to be a reflection of Native people as primitive and savage. But the irony is that most anthropologists believe that these stories didn't exist until the settlers came to what is now the US and Canada. So it's believed actually that these stories were made to represent the violence that they were inflicted on by European contact, by violence that they were inflicted on by the Europeans. And there could also be some confusion about the Wendigo, as a lot of terms do not directly translate into English because it's a totally different language family. I'm trying to even think, like, I'll have to look it up. Because English is Germanic and is from the Indo-European language family, versus Algonquin tribes are from a language family that I'm going to put down below, and then their words are most likely tonal. Some anthropologists think the word ghoul and or fool were mistranslated from Algonquin texts. Also, Wendigo accusations caused lots of stress within the communities for Native Americans. It was the same kind of fear that preceded the Salem witch trials. I can never speak, bro. Sorry. The Wendigo is still considered to be alive today, and there are still places that people believe they see the Wendigo. Yeah, they're especially still reported in northern Ontario near the Cave of the Wendigo around Kenora, where it literally has been spotted by traders, trackers, and trappers for decades. There are many who still believe the Wendigo roams the woods and prairies of northern Minnesota and Canada. Kenora, Ontario, Canada has been given the title of the Wendigo capital of the world. Signs of the creature have continued well into millennia. So, have you come across a Wendigo when you've been in these areas? Leave a comment down below. But that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a great day.